So we're officially live?
We're live.
Okay.
Here we are, guys.
Okay. So we are live at the dungeon in Maryville, the dungeon at Southlands. So if you've never been to the dungeon before, you're getting just a peek of the back. And Richard, will you take the camera and just do a little rotation and show them the other side?
I'll try not to make them sick.
Okay.
Ooh, we're at the back of the store. So all that goodness up there. We got VHS back here, and that sweet painting by our friend Will at Ideas Never Sleep. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So this is kind of your one-stop shop for all your physical media, your video games. They have everything from PlayStation 1 to PS2 all the way up to PS5 and Xbox, and along with all the physical media, Blu-rays, new stuff, Vinegar Syndrome. And later on, we're going to actually do a segment called What's Dead in the Dungeon and talk about some of that physical media that's came out that I have sitting over here. Some really cool stuff. VHS collecting has become very popular once again. And Jason at the dungeon has it in abundance. So it's definitely the place you want to go if you want to get any physical media. And Richard just grabbed one of the worst of the physical media.
So before Night of the Nerdy Laser happened, we, obviously did Nerdy Laser, and where we did just whatever we want on whatever movie, and we covered Postal. It's great. You can buy this gem for $4.95 here at the dungeon. No, great stuff down here. And this is like a bonus episode for you guys. Night of the Nerdy Laser is a horror podcast where me, Matt, and our buddy Jeff, who lives all the way on the other side of the country, talk about horror movies. And some of the ones we've got coming up in a couple weeks. Well, this week, actually. Mm-hmm. This week, we're talking The Fear. It's a great one. It's a really good 90s movie. Well, I think it's really good. You'll have to find out what the other guys think. And then we have Cherry Falls coming next week. And then after Cherry Falls, which Cherry Falls is on Shudder, so you can watch it there. And then we're going to finish off the trilogy of Return of the Living Dead with part 3. We've done 1 and 2. And one was like, we did like episode 5 or 6.
Well, we did it with the zombie tiki torch.
The tiki zombie guy. Oh, look at this. Even here at the dungeon, you can pick up Cherry Falls on VHS if Matt Henry doesn't beat
but
you
I'm getting it tonight.
That's how much Matt liked the movie. So
I loved it. Just so you guys know, I don't want to give anything away about the conversations that we'll be having about that film, but just to let you know, loved the movie. Absolutely loved it.
So remember, you can comment on anything and we can interact. But in the future, we're going to do one live episode a month down here, and our friend Jeff he won't be with us here, but he'll be on the screen there. You can see him too. And, so we'll do one live regular podcast for you guys. And then we'll, you can always catch us, our audio podcast. Every
Jason's
Thursday.
Over here trying to tiptoe through the tulips.
No, but so we're a little ahead on the podcast, just to let you know what's going on. Like we found ourselves racing, like to get stuff done. Mm-hmm. So we got a little ahead. So you guys should always get a podcast Thursdays at noon now. Some days it was coming out on Friday, but we're going to aim for Thursdays, and noon should be the time that the podcast drops. So yeah, we're pretty far ahead at this point.
Yeah, one of the cool things I like about doing something on site is this has a totally different feel, as opposed to, just doing the regular podcast. But also it kind of puts me in, like I'm in kind of information overload with everything around me. I'm like, hey, Richard, let's talk about Insidious. Oh, look, there's Kronos. There's Warlock 3, The End of Innocence. But one of the things that happened whenever I was on my way over here that I wanted to ask you, and also anyone out there that wants to ask questions, is I was listening to horror soundtracks on the way here, like themes from horror films. And by the way, you can actually come here to the dungeon and you can get entire vinyl soundtracks for horror films.
Hey, he just got in the what's that Netflix movie? Fear Street.
Oh,
he just
Street,
got in Waxworks Fear Street, so you can get that right now.
But my question was going to be, what is your, whenever you have, do you have a go-to whenever it pertains to like horror soundtracks? Not soundtracks like songs, but I mean like, you know.
Yeah, not like Dream Warriors by Dawkins.
No, like themes, like, you know, I love like the first Hellraiser soundtrack, you know. Yeah. I love all the themes on that soundtrack. Do you have a go-to?
I don't know. I mean, I got the House vinyl not too long ago, and I really dig that because it's quirky. Like, it's got like weird, like, because House is a horror comedy, so you get the weird and serious all at the same time. Tourist Trap's pretty good. I mean, as a kid, I don't know that I had a go-to as a kid. I'm trying to remember, like, not like a, I don't know, not like that.
The Return of the Living Dead Trioxin theme for me was on like regular rotation. I would listen to it the moment that I was able to download like YouTube on, you know, 15 years ago on an iPhone. It was listening to horror themes, and I love Trioxin.
One of my favorite soundtracks is Demon Knight.
Oh, yeah. Well, that one's literally everybody from Billy Idol to
Pantera.
Exactly. Yeah. It's that's kind of crazy, because whenever you look at that soundtrack, I think that's weird. They had to pay for all that music.
Oh, like, the crazier one, which is horror related, the Crow soundtrack is insane. I mean, the Crow soundtrack is so crazy that they released 2 soundtracks.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Okay. Like, there are some massive hits. Like, you're talking Stone Temple Pilots, all that grunge back in the day. Oh yeah, I mean,
that paid back in dividends. The Crow has a cult following that'll last forever. I don't know if we'll ever actually finally get to see a remake of The Crow. It started. It was supposed to.
Yeah, it's supposed to happen, but I doubt it will. I mean, I don't know. I'm sure it will at some point, but we'll see. I think
Jason Momoa was going to
play the last him. I heard. When in my mind, I was going to say that, but I was like, that doesn't feel right. But
no, I mean, he had like a picture that he posted, and then it just didn't happen. But to be fair, way too muscular.
Yeah, he's too Crow. Like, I mean, like that's what made
it would be like The Rock playing the Crow. It would
I know, like... yeah. I mean, I know Brandon Lee was like muscular because he was kung fu and all that,
but he was trim.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't Jason Momoa.
Yeah. I mean, he looked like the lead singer of a
of a grunge band. Yeah,
so it fit.
We should cover that. I mean, it's horror.
The Crow.
Yeah.
I love The Crow, and here's the other thing about The Crow. So this is sometimes why I watch it, and then I just realize because the feel of the movie, and because of what happened, the movie is a bit of a bummer.
Oh, yeah,
it's you know, it's just a bit of a bummer to watch.
It's not a feel good.
No, but I also love part 2.
We could watch part 3, which is probably more fun to talk about.
Is that the one with
Edward Furlong?
Oh, Eddie Furlong. Okay.
Wicked Prayer, I think it's called. And there was a TV show?
Not with him.
No.
No.
But it was part of that. Like, there was a TV show of that, and Poltergeist had one. I think it was called The Legacy.
Did you say fucking Poltergeist had a TV show?
Yeah.
When?
Am I not right, Jason? Let's see. Yeah. It was so The Crow, and so it was part of this syndication thing that would drop on like 5 o'clock on Saturday afternoon. So I remember Nightman being part of that, and Mutant X, or you could see it at 11 o'clock at night. Who knew? Who knows? Like syndication, it was just kind of all over the place. But I remember like Nightman and The Crow came on like at 4 and 5. But yeah, Poltergeist. I think I have it. I think I might have bought it from Jason. I got it from
collection
somewhere.
of the show.
Yeah, like I think it was only like season 1 or something. I don't think it like took off, but I think it's called The Legacy, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow, and I'm sitting here and I'm seeing 2 other things that I'm gonna have to get, which is Witchboard 1 and Witchboard 2 on VHS.
Oh yeah,
I want to talk a little bit about VHS. Just and I'll use. He really wants
to talk. He really wants to talk about Frank McCluskey, CI. That gem.
Maybe this one isn't the best example. But this, hang on, let me grab this over here.
He's going, whoa, sir.
I just want to show people these here because this is one of the reasons why I love VHS. Is for one, there's something about VHS that's having that physical art. I understand the art can go on the cover of a Blu-ray or DVD, but there's just something physically different about it. Look at this art. Look at that art. Witchboard 2 has the greatest art. And from what I understand, this director is a lunatic.
I always get
Kevin Tenney.
I always get Witchboard and Witchcraft confused.
Yes.
Which they're completely different movies,
yes,
I think.
Totally different.
I mean, Witchcraft is in not in the beaded curtain room, but just outside the door.
Yes. Speaking of, I mean, okay, so what's one of your earliest memories as it pertains to video stores?
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about porn.
No, video stores.
I mean, well, my earliest memories are down in Florida, probably going and renting wrestling tapes. Like my mom would take me, and that was young. I was like 8 or 9 or whatever, 10. And but the old Coliseum home video stuff, because you couldn't see it as regularly as you could now. So I mean, you could rent this stuff that I had never seen before. So that's probably that, and those big Walt Disney collections of like the classics, not movies, but they were like the best of Goofy and stuff.
You know what's weird? I would have thought that the Disney VHS stuff would have became expensive.
They're just flooded. It's so flooded. So like they produced so many of them. I mean, there for a while they were. I mean, especially when you look at like the Little Mermaid and some other things with like artwork stuff. I mean, Little Mermaid is infamous for the artwork, but now it's not. Nobody cares.
But it seems to be that horror is like kind of the staple as it pertains to physical media and what costs more. And what's became popular again. I was watching a video with Doug Bradley, and he was talking about the convention scene, and he said it's not. He goes, you don't see people showing up. You don't see them doing like comedy conventions or drama conventions.
Sure,
he's like it's horror conventions, and then sometimes you can sprinkle in. A Revenge of the Nerds into the horror stuff is kind of like
that's what Days of the or Monster. Well, somebody did it.
Or Weird Science.
Mad Monster Party or Days just did the. I think it was Mad Monster Party. Just did the Revenge of the Nerds thing, and and they sprinkle in some other kind of weirder stuff. I mean, the comedy stuff goes in with the horror stuff, I think, and even wrestling,
depending on what kind of comedy. Though,
well, the Impractical Jokers guy was there. At Days of the Dead.
Well, but see, here's the other different thing about him is those guys do actual live shows. Sure. So I think they fit right in with that. They're kind of like live entertainers. It's kind of like the JJ guy.
JJ Walker.
Yeah,
who will be here at the Bird and the Book.
Yes.
Go to southlandbooksandcafe.com to find out more information on that. Tickets are on sale now. Because they had Chris Kattan, J.J. Walker's coming, and I think they got some other stuff for comedy-wise, so that's pretty cool.
So you recently, one of my favorite, wasn't my favorite horror movie growing up, but I watched it a lot growing up because it was kind of one of those ones that you could digest a little bit easier as a child. But you watched it for the first time recently, and I want to get your opinion a little bit on Pumpkinhead.
Oh yeah. We're probably going to do an episode on that. Yeah, I had never watched the whole thing. And of course we're doing FrankenCon, FrankenConTN.com, and Brian Brimmer is going to be there, and Brian played Bunt, who is pretty integral to the
It's
rise
his fault.
of Pumpkinhead.
It's his fault.
Yeah. So, but Pumpkinhead is this cool, like, I mean, so it's a cool, like, kind of Pet Cemetery story in a way, where the kid die. I mean, spoiler alert. His son dies, and he wants to bring him back, or he wants to get revenge. So he calls on Pumpkinhead.
Yeah, it's like well. Another thing is growing up, and maybe it was a little bit different for me, maybe not. But I grew up here in like right outside of the Appalachian Mountains, so for me, Pumpkinhead felt like something like that my grandparents used to tell me the stories of, except it wasn't Pumpkinhead, it was Rawhead and Bloody Bones or something like that, So it was like kind of those old folk tales that are just on the outskirts of being a possibility to me as a child.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
we got a
perfect.
sealed copy.
Jesus Christ.
You can get that graded. Hey,
Is this a correct price?
It's only $1.99.
It's either $1.99 or $4.99. So
it's Lance Henriksen, who's great, and but something interesting about that movie. I mean, I know I spoiled a big part of it by saying the kid dies. I guess I don't know. Probably says that on the back.
Well, it's the same kid from the vampire movie with Kiefer Sutherland.
Lost Boys?
Yeah, same little boy.
So, but the kid is alive for 45 minutes of that movie. I mean, it's pretty crazy to think that really Pumpkinhead doesn't show up until about an hour in. And but it's a great movie. I mean, Lance Henriksen is great, and I mean, you feel for him, and it's got some great practical effects because it's directed and done by Stan Winston. So, and
you get this opening flashback that takes place probably what looks to be like the 1920s, maybe 1930s.
Oh yeah,
40s.
Yeah. Well, it's him when he was a kid.
Yeah, it's him whenever he was a kid. So, and then you see the creature manifesting, and you see this guy running up to these people's cabin and banging on the door, and inside the cabin it's like lit by fire. And I just remember as a kid, like, Richard, I had family that lived like that.
I mean,
like that cooked their food and heated their house on a stove.
Yeah,
no, but like for me, it was like that was my was my Granny Dean's like life. And so it's just one of those weird things. I felt a connection to it, but I grew up loving that movie. It always creeped me out. I also think I watched it for the first time maybe during a Joe Bob deal. Maybe during a Monster Vision type thing.
I'm sure he did it.
Speaking of Monster Vision, I think this is a perfect opportunity for us to do a really cool segment called What's Dead in the Dungeon.
What's Dead in the Dungeon?
And I'm going to have Jason. Jason is the man with the plan. He's the one who runs this dungeon. And he's going to come in. He's going to join us for a few seconds. And we're going to talk about what's dead in the dungeon. And the reason why I think that...
look, we got all sorts of goodies. Is this the show?
Yep.
Oh, so we got The Crow's Stairway to Heaven is what it was called.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this has a bunch of episodes. Or no, this is just
like 2.
It's 2 episodes, but it's 2 episodes, but you get all these like outstanding drama series, outstanding directing in a drama series, outstanding.
What's The Crow?
Well, I'm pretty sure that's a bootleg because
I'm pretty sure,
and I don't think it's available.
Not on VHS,
yeah,
I wouldn't.
I don't think it's available on.
On DVD, probably not.
And I'm not sure why.
So Joe Bob recently covered one of these really cool things that you have here at the dungeon. And that's Black Roses. So was this just this past week?
Yep.
He did.
It was the Valentine special.
Oh, that
it was the
makes
Valentine's
sense.
special. Yeah, he did that, and what else?
Crap! If you not asked me,
I forgot, but I know Black Roses was one of them.
what was the other one?
So you got movie soundtracks, I see. Well, this
yes.
one is horror for a completely different reason, and I really want this. It's music from Spider-Man: Turn Off the Dark, which is this is a legit copy too. It's not a bootleg.
What's Turn Off the Dark?
It's the Broadway musical of Spider-Man.
Oh, the
Oh,
one
are
that
you
everybody
serious?
died?
Where everybody died, like,
Yeah.
like no, I mean, like one person I think died.
Was
and
it the
then,
guy
like,
playing Spider-Man?
Yeah, it was this one of the stunt people, I think.
They dropped him from the ceiling.
No,
or
I
something?
mean
Yeah,
it was.
crushed.
I think it was in. I think it was. It wasn't live on stage. I mean, it was during a training, like them
Yeah,
rehearsing.
there's a whole thing to like it was a cursed play, kind of like
Carrie.
Carrie.
Carrie was a cursed play too.
But I mean, it was like I was thinking of the movie that Vic Morrow.
Oh, Twilight Zone the movie,
There you go.
which has came up in conversation.
Well, we've talked about
Maybe
it a
we'll
lot.
talk why. Not now. Maybe one day soon.
Yeah, one day.
Oh, yeah.
So
Zombie
we got Zombie 3. That's pretty cool. And these are
that's
pretty
in its-
hard to find.
that's
This
in
is
its
just
wrapping.
the really cool stuff you can find here. Like, I mean, like Friday the 13th, the original soundtrack on CD.
The Hunger.
It's just really cool.
Oh, we got The Hunger,
Vampirella.
and The Dead Zone.
Yeah. I mean, just really cool stuff. Like stuff you don't see everywhere.
That's
And that's
the
the Fear Street I was talking about that I've only seen the first one. Have you seen all three of them?
Yeah, I've seen all three.
Actually, I've only seen the first one.
I saw
really
part
really
of
liked it.
I actually saw like 30 minutes of the second one, but I stopped.
So
For
another
no reason, but
one of the
Well, I
collections.
kind of did the same thing.
You've got a full collection in of. So I remember being a kid and going to the video store, and I saw one of these, but I did not know that there was a trilogy of these films, and this is one of the ones you've got in. So Jason has got in The Tomb of the Blind Dead.
Oh, and that's cool because it's got a flap on it. It's like a book.
Oh, it's got an inner flap. Okay,
It's like a book.
It's
Yeah,
like the
I
skin
think that's
behind my
the-
ear.
I think
It's got a
the
flap. If my wife's watching that, she will laugh.
Was there an inside story there?
There is, yeah. Return of the Blind Dead, and I've never heard of this, but Night of the Death Cult, and that's the
that's
third in the
cool.
That's
series.
the third in the series.
That's a cool
and
cover,
it might
too.
go by another name. I'm not sure on that, but that's the Sony.
That's the
release.
weird thing about horror movies. Like a lot of them, foreign releases and such, go by different names. So sometimes it's hard to know what you actually saw.
Well, and
back in the day.
some movies will
You
be
could do a
like,
podcast on that. honestly.
Yeah.
yeah, some movies will be like unofficial sequels, like we were just talking about it. One of the guys that maybe one day we'll actually get to meet is Farmer, the director.
Oh yeah, Donald Farmer.
Yeah, Donald Farmer, who did. They just released last month.
It was a shark. No. Is it not?
Well, it was the double feature. It was.
You talking about Cannibal Hookers?
Yeah,
and-
Cannibal Hookers,
Oh yeah.
and then
and I can't remember what the other one was. Cannibal something.
Yeah, I don't know.
yeah.
I own
So,
it, but I don't know.
But he did an unofficial sequel to I Spit on Your Grave with Camelia Keaton. She came back, and her character's name is even Jennifer. So, but it's like an unofficial sequel.
Yeah.
But it's called like Savage Woman is at the bottom. But in real big letters in the upper left-hand corner, it's like I stomp on your gravestone or something. So it's like he's trying to cash in on that.
You
But-
know,
Can't
yeah.
blame.
what would be
Can't
funny
blame.
is I reckon that's the word. My understanding is that the woman that wrote no, never mind. That's something else.
I was going to say a woman wrote I Spit on Your grave.
No.
That's the worst woman ever.
No, but what I was thinking it's the woman that wrote Slumber Party Massacre.
Oh, a woman wrote that? Well, I could see that.
Yeah, no. Corman used women a lot as directors.
Well, that's cool, though.
Yeah, no.
I mean,
like every one of the Slumber Party Massacres, I'm pretty sure was written by a woman and directed by a woman. I think. You can
That's-
definitely check that out. I mean, definitely check my knowledge on that. I'm not sure.
Well, I mean, in old horror movies, you didn't. I mean, I didn't really. So it's weird. Growing up, I always heard about like people that directed horror movies, and they were all males.
Mhm.
It wasn't until like The Babadook that I
Oh,
thought
yeah.
of like, oh, a
That's
woman
true.
can direct a horror film. Of course, a woman. That's
Food's
you
here.
know, it just feels like it should have happened
We
way
got a
before
delivery.
then, and I'm sure it did.
We're
Highland.
But I take that back because Pet Cemetery was directed by a woman as well. So,
Yes.
and that's one of the. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah,
people
that's pretty
quote that as
iconic.
one of the scariest movies of all time.
Well, the funny thing was, and which I think this might have been from Joe Bob actually, where I got this. Corman had like a formula, like literally breasts were shown every 20
so many,
minutes,
ever so many
20
minutes.
minutes or whatever. But anyway, but he hired the women directors. I mean, but they had to follow his thing.
Wasn't
They had
Dead
to
and
follow
Buried?
his-
Wasn't there a fallout with Dead and Buried or Humanoids? Humanoids.
It wasn't humanoids. There was one.
There was one where the corner was like, more boobs, and the guy was like, no. He's like, okay, we'll get somebody else.
Yeah, well, they had one of the. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah.
So, and then, but another really cool thing that you have here is what I would call rare media, and we picked one out. I just want to get. I'm going to mention what this movie is, and then I want to talk about the director just a little bit because I've actually had communication with this director.
Of course you have.
You're serious.
Yeah.
I knew that.
So, Microwave Massacre. Okay. This director actually contacted me about being a part of FrankenCon, and maybe one day we can get him to be a part of
I would
FrankenCon.
definitely think that would be a good.
Well, here's the thing. I'd never heard of Microwave Massacre.
Oh, I've
so
heard
I
of
thought
it. I've never
was
seen
maybe
it.
like a student film released.
No.
on YouTube or
I've
something.
heard of it, but I've never seen it.
No, anybody that has seen Frosty does not need to watch that movie.
Frosty the
The
Snowman.
Yeah, that's the killer. His voice.
Oh
know?
my
Oh,
God!
Jack.
Oh, dude. Oh no, you need
Oh.
to see it. Oh, you haven't seen it.
No.
No. Well, you need to see it. Yeah.
Oh, Jackie Vernon.
Yeah, it's his voice. So it is freaking as a killer. It's
messes with your
kind
head.
of hard to wrap your hand around it. Yeah.
So I just want you to. So this is not an indictment on anything other than this is just rare media, but there's a handful of these that you have in store. How much does something like Microwave Massacre, which again I repeat is considered rare media, how much would a price tag on something like this be?
Oh, that one's.
It's probably a few $100,
Yes,
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, if it was in the box, I've seen it sell for over $500.
And it's like the Wizard of Gore.
So
or
this
some of
is
those
what's
other-
known as a cut box, right?
Yes.
Like, because
Yeah.
they took it used to be full.
Mhm.
Like it used to have a top and a side and probably even a flap.
Yeah, there
But-
were big boxes. I should have brought.
Yeah.
One.
Oh, okay,
I should have
okay.
brought one over.
But then back in the Video Vision Superstore
Yeah.
located in
Took it,
Newport,
cut it up, and put it inside.
and put
the
it in
case.
something easier to
Yeah.
give to somebody.
Okay.
Well, yeah, because they couldn't. The big boxes basically were big boxes, and like that would be this would be like that would slide down in the big box,
Mm.
and then it would close up. So
Oh,
it had
okay.
like so it was really it wasn't cost effective in the beginning, and for a video store, it was a little bit of a pain in the butt because it would go and it was
Take up too much space on the shelf.
too much
Yeah.
space, and it would get damaged easy because it was. I don't know,
But
solid.
it's just cool that you have a handful of these items, and we'll look at another one next time that are in store that are considered like rare type items. And
Yeah.
for someone like me, if you're someone out there that has the money that wants to do it, like I may have the money every now and then, but not all the time. But I would love to own a rare item like this
Yeah.
because, especially with like what we're doing with bringing in, actors and directors
Oh,
of
if you
getting
get the-
something signed.
Yeah, but I don't know if you'd want to though. Honestly, that kind of falls in the thing of like it adds value to, but it also kind of
Well, autographs can't. They can't. Well, if
when it's
if
so
they
rare-
write to you, it especially just takes away any value that it has.
So it would just have to be his
But-
name on it.
Yeah, and I feel like I feel like Jason, sort of like I've used to feel like that, but nowadays there's so many autograph collectors out there.
I mean, that's true. I mean, it would definitely. I don't know if it would help or if it hurt. I mean, I guess
To the right person it would hurt it, and to the right person it would help it. Like
Exactly.
it just depends on who.
I mean,
if somebody cared about the autograph, it would help it. But if they don't care, then they would pass on it. I mean, it's just finding the right buyer for it. You know?
right?
Yeah.
No, and that's it. I mean, because
But if you autographed, you might be able to get $200 more out of it. You know,
True.
I mean,
True.
especially if the direct, you know, if it's a rare autograph, if the person's no longer around. I mean, something like that.
That is definitely true because I guess having what's his name's the star.
Yeah. Well, so it's like whenever we brought in Felissa Rose and we did the sleepaway camp event. I had her sign a movie poster of mine, and it's up on my wall, and I want to get the other people to sign it. But if we ever bring her back again, because she signed it, she said to Matthew, and then it said, meet me down at the waterfront after you stop being awesome. And that's really sweet. And I love that she did that.
Yeah.
But like next time I bring her in, I'll probably get another poster and say, just sign it, just your name.
Well,
You know?
Yeah, because
I mean, I have a bunch of autographs. I mean, including one that Corey got for me, Doug Bradley's. He got me at Days of the Dead this past week. And
did he sign it to you?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it says to Richard, see you in hell, Doug Bradley.
Oh, nice.
And then
you know you're going. No,
but and also he got me Michael Bailey Smith's, who was Super Freddy, who I'm infatuated.
Well,
I love Super Freddy.
Cool thing
how Super Freddy wasn't. I just found out about Super Freddy. We just watched part 5.
He had never seen part 5.
I'd never seen it, and how Super Freddy's not a thing. Like, it's hilarious. It's the best.
So one of the things I like about him more so than the Super Freddy thing is he also played one of the lead mutants in the remake of The Hills Have Eyes.
Oh, it was the remake.
The really tall mutant.
Oh, okay.
That did a lot of that was in
tall.
the big fight scene.
Okay, yeah.
With the nerdy guy with the glasses.
Gosh, that remake always gets forgotten about, but that's a good remake.
It's in my top 5 remakes.
Alexander Aja did a
It's in my top 5 of the modern day remakes. So anything post Texas Chainsaw remake after that is I like it a lot. Speaking of not speaking of remakes, but just physical media in general. You also get in a lot of like Vinegar Syndrome, and a lot of these
Severin, Culture Shock. Bunch of those boutiques.
And we want to highlight a few of these newer releases you have coming in. And I'll let you talk a little bit about that. This one, we'll start off with Madman. So this is a really cool release. And you've seen this film, correct?
Yes.
That's a cool cover.
Oh, yeah. No, they did that.
What's
I haven't seen the
it's the same. Boo.
Well, no, I guarantee it flips.
Probably on the other side of the original.
I would venture to guess it flipped. Because I haven't seen the 4K version of it yet. But no, Madman was a funny thing about this one, which of course, once again, if you watched Joe Bob, you would have already heard that it was being filmed at the same time as The Burning, and it's the same story. I mean, virtually, it's about the same killer up in New York, New Jersey.
Okay. Cropsey.
Yes,
which is actually the concept of Cropsey is an urban legend that stems from a true story about a guy that was kidnapping a bunch of kids and then possibly some cult activity. And there's a whole documentary about it on Netflix, I think, about Cropsey. But it's weird that they've taken that name and
and well, I mean, they made 2 successful movies out of it. Madman might be. Well, no, I think Burning's probably.
Well, Burning is more well known because I've never heard of that one.
Really, you never heard of Madman? Really? Huh.
I've heard of Madman, but The Burning is one of those movies that
Tom Savini did the
effects. That's the thing there. Tom did the effects on that one, and that boat scene is just.
Oh yeah.
But anyways, tell us about Madman.
Oh, so yeah. Well, no, that's basically all. I don't really.
So it's similar to The Burning.
Yeah, no, yeah. It's basically like you said. I mean, you kind of took the word out. It's the Cropsey story. Just,
no, okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the urban legend version of it.
Does this come with different? Does this come with special features?
Oh Lord, yeah.
I'm assuming, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't. Honestly, I haven't. With everything that's been going on, I haven't paid much.
Okay,
attention.
so we got interviews with actress Galen Ross and commentary with the directors. Listen, if you're a company like Vinegar Syndrome or Severin, and you release a brand new edition and there isn't commentary on I don't want nothing to do with it.
Yeah, well, that goes back to what I was saying earlier about DVDs. That I've got customers coming in that buy DVDs specifically for the commentary, and I don't know if that's because somebody dies and then
you can't get the commentary.
Yeah, and they redo it.
Well, and then other companies will own the rights.
That's
to
true
that
too.
Stuff.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
then
Too.
Not even. I mean, I think like studios, like if they have somebody else film the thing, like that company could own it.
Oh yeah, it gets into crazy rights on some of this. I mean,
think about the new Blu-ray, not new, but the only Blu-ray box set for A Nightmare on Elm Street films, the entire series, versus the DVD box set that was in the thing, and had the interactive menus and shit like that. Like that was the kind of shit that used to be cool. There would be like Easter eggs.
Oh, I remember you could scroll over to certain things and find the Easter eggs.
And you have a plethora of DVDs here as well. The DVDs are obviously a little bit cheaper than these newer editions.
Oh yeah. Right now's the time to get in on the DVD. If you ever are going to go back to DVD buying, now's the time, because I have a feeling they're going to start becoming.
And there's even videos online that talk about how DVD versus Blu-ray. Some people. I mean, listen, there's no doubting the quality of 4K when it's transferred. And if you have a 4K television, a player and everything comes together. But sometimes if you're dealing with some of these old transfers, if they're in 2K or something like that, sometimes there's not that big of a difference. But sometimes there is. It's just a toss-up.
And sometimes it doesn't bother me, right, that 4K will show a lot of flaws that, DVD.
Some things are I think Rad is famous for that. Like even the Blu-ray transfer or the 4K transfer isn't perfect, and people complained about it. And it's like, well, it's film.
Yeah, I mean, you can only go so good. I mean, and at a certain point, that is, I think, where you land. So,
hey, I have a bootleg of Rad, and it was from a VHS that has like the tracking issues and stuff. It's great. It's so fun to watch.
Well, and the funny thing is, it's like, as well, I'm looking at Mask right there, the Jim Carrey movie. So you throw it in on like the VCR I've got with the HDMI hookup, and it doesn't look much worse than DVD, and in some cases it doesn't look much worse than Blu-ray. And but it all depends on how it was done and when it was released, and so many things like that. Because in the same sense, you throw in something like,
what about Mask with Cher? Are my tears still real?
But that would be a good point. Is Mask probably wouldn't look as good on, because
I hope that if I have emotional issues, that I can say all the capitals of states too whenever I start getting emotional. No, so there's been plenty of times where we've been doing a podcast, and sometimes we'll use what's that streaming service where everything's free?
Oh, Tubi. Tubi's my favorite.
Tubi will get new transfers of films, and then I'll watch it and I'll go, this movie was not meant to be seen.
Yeah.
Unless you'll end up in a lawnmower situation.
Oh, well, that was a different situation because of the director's cut and the new movie, like the
Lawnmower Man.
The Lawnmower Man. Yeah, so the Lawnmower Man we did a while back, and that's a funny one because, I watched the VHS copy, and it had a whole 10-minute scene that Matt and Jeff didn't see.
A monkey killing, yes. And I get why. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see
it. I'm sitting there listening to the podcast, and I'm going, okay, Richard, yeah. I'm like, Matt, I don't know what you all are talking about.
Because that was the version you saw.
Yeah, that was the version I saw. Yeah. So, I mean, it's funny how that is, though.
No, I watched it on Tubi on that episode, and I mean, it does. It acts like the monkey got killed in the facility.
Yep.
and it doesn't show it. Like it just, I mean,
No, you see a gunshot, like a flash,
yeah, and you
as
see
he's trying to run out the door. Yeah, yeah. So another special edition we got here is this
from
also
Trauma.
from Trauma, Fortress of America. That's it. Is that how it's pronounced?
I guess.
I don't know.
Yeah. Your
Who
guess
knows?
is just mine.
So
I was actually unfamiliar with the movie till
I'm
they
completely
released it,
unfamiliar with it.
and I still haven't seen it. I'm hoping it's better than Trauma War, though. I've got to say, I was not a fan.
Oh,
of
I haven't seen that one.
Oh, so it's one of the goriest action films to be produced during Trauma's golden age. And it was directed by the guy who did Class of Nukem High 3. I didn't know there was a 3.
Actually, I didn't either.
I thought there was a 2 and a 2.5 or something.
I thought
Who
they
knows?
just quit after 2.
But that's the kind of special edition stuff. Like if you go back there and you look on the wall, it's everything from the new Vinegar Syndrome stuff. And there could be a possibility that y'all, I don't want to be saying this incorrectly, but is it 88 films? Maybe that you may be working with it.
Oh, well, we're definitely getting to where we actually got some 88 films coming in. We might be carrying the Region B ones, maybe.
Okay, I will buy
Region
them
2,
because I have become
a snob,
and I like getting the Region B stuff. I don't know.
I like getting the Region B stuff in.
Well, it's the way that they treat their box sets, and it's the way they treat their art, and it like
it is nicer.
The Hellraiser 1, 2, and 3 box set. If done in America, it would be like you would open up a case and it'd be like all 3 discs in one case.
Yeah.
But this is like each of them get their own
thing.
Own thing, and it goes in a special box that has Pinhead on it with awesome art. So I just respect it.
Which is funny too, because like Arrow in the beginning, funny that you should say that, because I have the Scarlet box. It's the Arrow released the Scarlet box. It's the first 3.
That's different though. That's Arrow will, some of those.
Yeah, but they don't do that much anymore like they did. I mean, you'll get them occasionally, but not like that. The Phantom of the Mall, was that the last one?
Is the Scarlet box, is that just 1 and 2, or is it 1
and 3?
1, 2, and 3? Okay. Yeah. And then also you can actually buy some really cool combos. So sometimes you'll come by and then you'll have something like the Love Butcher, which is a new release on special edition. And then you can also get the VHS of it too. Oh, it looks rough on the back. Okay. So tons of stuff you can get down here at the dungeon. And Jason, you're here. When is the dungeon open and when is it closed?
Oh, we're open Tuesday through Saturday, 12 to 6.
Tuesday through Saturday. So, Oh yeah, that's all because sometimes I want to come on Mondays.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Well, I just with my little girl, and she's off a lot on Mondays.
No, listen, you need a day off. You need a nap.
No, it's not really that so much as when she gets older, things will probably, or if the store gets a little bigger, we can afford to have somebody here.
And also, guys, if you're coming to FrankenCon, the dungeon will be at FrankenCon. They're going to have a whole setup. It looks like we have a question or two.
No, it's Jason's wife telling us to take off our shirts.
Take it off.
That sounds like a lot.
Take off your shirts.
Yeah, she just goes straight for.
Well, okay.
You asked for it.
So we're gonna try and do these once a month, and then get on a schedule where you guys can actually know when we're going to be doing these.
Yeah, we'll post the next one.
And then also, this is kind of like a test up for us to see like, hey, can we actually do something physical here? And this has been, unless I'm incorrect, Richard, but this has been a super easy setup, correct? Yeah. So I think we'll even pop in Jeff next time, and we'll do an actual. We'll do a movie. We'll do a movie. We'll do one of our episodes, and then we'll bring you back in for another segment of What's Dead in the Dungeon. So I think it's fun. I think it's a cool thing to do. And then I've also thought this because some of these new vinyls come out, so I would love to do a listening party one time whenever we're down here too.
Oh yeah,
that'd be fun.
Because a lot of times people will do lives and they'll just turn their shit around and,
Yeah, that'd be
Sure.
fun.
Yeah, you just end it with a listening party. So yeah, Jason, thanks for joining us, and thanks for giving us an opportunity to do something live and in person. So.
No, thank you guys. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
And check out the dungeon. It's really cool down here. And it's actually a dungeon. It's below Southland Books. So you can go to Southland Books and cafe.com. You can also check out Southland_dungeon. You can check us out, Night of the Nerdy Laser, at gmail.com. You can email us, or Night of the Nerdy Laser on Instagram and Facebook.
Yes.
And this week we'll be releasing The Fear. That's this Thursday, so the 3rd.
Mm-hmm.
The Fear will release at noon, and
AKA Wooden Man.
Yeah, Morty. So thanks for tuning in, watching us, and check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Just type in Night of Nerdy Laser. Nobody else crazy enough to have that name, and keep it bloody.
Because somebody has to. And also, I want to thank you guys because our audience is growing, so that makes me very happy.
Bye.
Bye.